one of my favorite things you brought about, and I've thought about it a ton, is that um, engineers shouldn't be project managers and project decision makers. And I love you've got a table in there, who makes the decision? And you say technical professionals, pavement thickness and cross slopes and lane widths and bituminous mixture and things. And the non-professionals, the public, whomever, should be talking about design speed, design volume, design vehicle size. And the thing that gets me about that is, to me, I've always felt the engineer should be there to make the input technically correct on the backside. The engineer should be there not to say we must have a 12-foot lane width or a 5-foot bike lane, but hey, if you're recommending a 8-foot travel lane width and it's a truck route, maybe that's not the best. So walk us down that track a little bit more and tell us how you got to that philosophy that I know some of us have also come to.
Well, let me give you an analogy in the architecture realm. Because when we look at great buildings and we recognize that an architect was present in designing this, architects will sit down and they will look at things like, how do the humans pass through this space? How do they utilize it? What do we want the light to reflect off of? They're asking a whole different set of things about the experience of the people in that place and the way it's supposed to operate. And often the tension between architects and engineers is that the architect will design something, give it to the structural engineer, who will say, well, this defies the laws of gravity and physics. And so I've got to put a beam in here and change this. And there'll be, debate back and forth. When we get to the transportation realm, which let's recognize the way we do transportation today shapes the land use adjacent to it. It shapes everything about our built environment. It's as if we skip the architect and just give the building to the structural engineer and say, design this. And what you would get is a building that is just full of concrete and structural beams with no windows, no air circulation, no secondary concerns, but does it stand up? In the transportation realm, these things have such deep impact on our places. We hand them over to engineers who are really have two base concerns. How quickly do we move traffic, and how much traffic can we move? The speed and the volume. They simplify that down to this idea of mobility. But when you simplify a street down to that, you're stripping everything about that street that creates value. You're stripping out the experience of the person. You're experiencing the houses along it, the businesses along it, how they interact with each other. There's an infinite number of things that get just reduced and not taken into account. So I think engineers are really important, but we should keep them doing the things that they're actually competent to do, which, design of human spaces is not one of them. Human psychology, human relations, public health. These are all things that engineers are not qualified to have any say in, but can support, in a sense, after the fact, larger public policy objectives when they get to the point of, what should the pavement thickness be? What kind of bituminous mixture should we spec here? Those are things that engineers are really good at.